Israel and Hamas reach hostage release deal in exchange for 4-day pause in fighting. Israel and Hamas have reached a deal in which around 50 hostages being held by Hamas will be released to Israel, according to multiple reports, while fighting will pause for 4 days, making the first major agreement between the two sides since Hamas' October 7th attack. The 4-day pause in fighting will be the first pause longer than 4 hours that Israel has agreed to since the fighting escalated in early October. Israel will let 308 trucks in a day cross from Egypt into Gaza as part of the deal, according to Axios. According to Qatari officials, Israel has also agreed to release some 150 jailed Palestinians, all women and children. Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know the famous phrase, we do not negotiate with terrorists. Well, that is exactly what Israel is forced to do at this point, where they're negotiating with terrorists. And today, Thanksgiving, when we're all sitting here enjoying life and the amazingness that is America, on the other side of the world, they're basically trying to get their hostages back. And that's essentially been the main reason why they have not been even willing to have a ceasefire. But it's good to see, for humanity's sake and for innocent civilians' sake, that a ceasefire is pending. And today is supposed to be the day, but now they're essentially supposed to be pushing it back to Friday. And what's holding up the deal? Well, Hamas has not lived up to their end of the bargain by providing any of the details that's supposed to come with these list of hostages, i.e. names, genders, details, logistics, nothing. And, you know, luckily, the United States and Israel, alongside with Egypt and Qatar, because Qatar is very much involved in this. A lot of Hamas's leadership is based out of Qatar. So everyone's stepping up and basically saying, listen, let's get to the ceasefire at some point. And, you know, if someone, I try to equate this into just like humanistic terms. If someone held your kids hostage and they're like, hey, just chill out, man. Like, just have a little ceasefire. You're like, yeah, I want my kids back. I want my children back here. And you're telling me to have a ceasefire. Give me my children back. And, you know, these are the children of Israel. This is the family of Israel. And it's great to see, much like in any time there's a situation, that there's women and children and old people are going to come first. And essentially the details of the deal is there's going to be 50 of the over 200 hostages, women and children initially, that are going to basically be exchanged for 150 Palestinian prisoners that are apparently also women and children. I don't know what those details are.
Kind of weird. But yeah.
But so there's this exchange. It's sort of a 3-to-1 exchange. Israel has been notorious. If you look, I mean, Rob, you can Google this. They will exchange one Israeli citizen for hundreds, if not thousands, of terrorists or people that are put in jail. Like, that's how much Israel cares about their citizens. They will literally exchange one citizen for 1,000 terrorists, essentially, or whoever's in jail. So you can look into that. But ultimately, here's what has to happen, because hopefully this takes place. I would say there's a high likelihood that this doesn't take place. You're negotiating with terrorists. So we'll see what happens here. But if there is some sort of ceasefire and exchanging of prisoners and hostages and everything that's going on there, that's great. And then what I think terms of the deal is that for every day that there's a ceasefire, they will release 10 more hostages. So we would all love to see a cessation in war and activity and everything that's going on with that. In the meantime, Israel has been attacking the operational headquarters, allegedly, that is in this hospital area. They've been basically going after tunnels. They've been going after weapons manufacturing sites. And I think it's come to the world's attention that Hamas has got to go. What needs to happen is that the UN needs to step up. The Red Cross has already stepped up. They're going to need to basically set up some sort of temporary political solution, a UN-run government to run Gaza. And we would all love to see the ending of war and the ending of this.
The only way you bring a terrorist to the table is you kind of go Kaiser Sose on them, right? You're willing to go one step further than they are.
Oh, wow.
And we've seen the videos, and one of the videos most striking to me was seeing how the Israelis planted, a high-intensity explosive charge on one end of a tunnel, and they set it off, and you saw a back blast, but then in the distance, on a straight line, then off to the left, you saw the blast effectively coming through like manhole covers.
Yeah.
That was air vents. And so I'm saying to myself, man, I sure hope Israel knew where that tunnel went and was sure that there were no hostages in little rooms or caves down under there, because the concussive force there, basically it kills people rather quickly, right? The concussive force of an explosion in a contained area breaks your eardrums, creates intracranial bleeding, and you're dead. And so I just sure hope that Israel knew that there were no hostages along that line and where that tunnel was going, number one. But number two, you look at that, immediately took out any living thing that was on down that half-mile tunnel. And you say to yourself, okay, guys, if you're hiding in that tunnel, you're no longer hiding there, because you guys are all dead. And it appears that Israel's had some, despite the bad view, and I hate what I'm seeing here, because I believe in the notion that when you kill a man with a child and you leave the child and his three friends are when they turn 18, 16, they're becoming bad guys. You're making bad guys out of these children who have lost their parents.
Yeah.
But I believe Israel's had some effectiveness with what they're doing, and that's brought Hamas to the table to negotiate this.
Well, again, America doesn't negotiate with terrorists. I don't know how Israel or anybody else does. But at what? Let's say they get all these hostages back. Then what? Is that end game? Then what? It's because, I mean, Hamas is still apparently, out of the 11,000 that have been killed, the majority are women and children. You guys know how many Hamas terrorists have been killed in this?
They have not had concrete numbers, because it's hard to do that, because Hamas runs it. I don't know. I'm not going to guess.
But people have guessed.
Yeah.
And it's
but it's
about
a guess.
100 or 200. And I'm being.
Give me your source for that.
I've heard that
From who,
it's
a
not
guy?
a lot. Well, it's not a lot. Hold on. Can you tell me how many?
I don't know. That's why I'm not guessing.
Hold on. Give me a guess. Can you guess?
I'm not going to guess.
Well, I from what I've heard.
Give me your best guess.
I would say it's
from a guy
under
you spoke
500.
to. What
I'd say
is
it's
it?
under 500
Okay.
out of 10,000. Let's just say. My point is, at what point is it going to be like, okay, so let's say they do this 4-day ceasefire, and they go right back to it. What's the end game is getting all the hostages back, right? I mean, that's what you want. Is to get all the hostages back. But like Tom just said, you killed these innocent people that are dying. You're creating people that are really, really going to hate Israel, and they're really, really, really going to hate us. And then here's the point. Here's the point that I'm going to. You guys saw that internal memo that was released that Israel said, hey, listen, we didn't want it to come out, but the media and everybody got it robbed. Did you see about this? And it was their plan. Valuetainment, Connor Walcott reported on it. It was an internal memo saying that all the West and everybody is going to have to take all these refugees because Israel doesn't want to take them. They're because, mind you, all these people are going where right now? Where are all?
Into refugee camps.
Okay, where? Israel's not. The Egyptian border's not open.
The Rafah crossing, that's where they.
Yes,
but ask yourself, why won't Egypt take these people
saying
in? Why won't Jordan take these people in? Why won't the rest of the Arab world take these people in? I'm asking you why.
Because nobody wants people that are pissed off because they're getting bombed, Adam. Would you want to take anybody?
That's
a big part.
Why didn't they take them in prior to this?
What I'm saying is, though, the attitude of, well, we told everybody to leave. Where are they going? They're just going in a camp and sitting around? Where are they going to go? I'm just curious.
This sort of highlights the bigger problem that's going on here. And I equate it to, I'm going to make a sort of a weird analogy, what goes on in America when black on black crime. Like, nobody talks about black on black crime. Nobody talks about what's going on in Chicago. Nobody talks about what's going on in DC. Where are the riots for that? Where's the BLM movement when black people get killed by other black people? But when one cop randomly kills a black person, which is very, very seldom, all of a sudden there's riots and there's protests. What's the analogy? We're not talking about what the Arabs that are killing other Arabs in every other part of the world, in Syria, in Lebanon, in North Africa. Certainly what's going on in Iran is a fucking travesty. But all of a sudden, when Israel tries to defend themselves and their right to a sovereign, peaceful nation, they're the bad guys. Go ahead and march when Al-Qaeda in North Africa starts terrorizing other North Africans, and they start killing other Muslims and Arabs. Where are the marches for that? Where are the marches? You only care about when the Jews do. It's essentially the same thing that goes on here in America. You don't, no, BLM isn't marching when hundreds, if not thousands of black people are killed by fellow black people, where the marches say nothing. But let one cop do something ridiculous, the marches ensue. It's exactly what's going on here. And if you want to talk about stats, did you see this USA Today article? I'll read it to you because they actually surveyed the people of Gaza. Okay? What, Tom? What are you saying?
No, I'm saying yes. Read that.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Tom. I don't need your encouragement. So they basically said
It's called support, dude.
Thanks, brother.
Go ahead, Adam.
Basically, they're saying that Hamas has basically it's basically a mini Iran, and you're familiar with Iran,
Of course.
Okay, how do you think the people of Iran feel about their government?
Well, I mean, some of them love it. Not
No, the majority of people do not love their government in
well,
Iran.
well, you said some people do.
The
and some
majority of people.
I mean, I don't know. What are the stats? Have you?
I'm
done a
just
poll?
your opinion.
Like, where's the stats? Where's your poll?
I'm about to give it to you.
I don't know.
I'm about
Because
to
guess
give it
what? Some
to you.
people love their fucking country.
Yeah.
Adam.
What would
And
you
they're-
say? Would you say the people of Iran love their government, Pat?
Government, no, they do not.
Yeah. Do you need a stat to know that?
No, we actually gave a
Okay.
report the other day, and the way it opened up, according to a Netherlands study that was done, 68% of Iranians in Iran want the government to be changed.
Of course. All right. Well, it turns out it's the exact same thing that's going on in Gaza. Okay. So if you look into this thing that says Hamas, notorious for its violent tactics such as executions and enforced disappearances, instills a pervasive atmosphere among who? Palestinians in Gaza. This is what happens when a terrorist organization or a mafia-like organization like the mullahs in Iran are running your government. And what happens is they kill their political rivals. They're thrown off rooftops. They tortured their own people. This is not a democracy. This is a full-on terrorist organization that is running a country. And the people who suffers the most? Innocent civilians in Gaza, 50% of which were born prior to Hamas coming into power in 2006. Innocent kids, innocent victims can't even go out there and speak. So here's some numbers for you. Surveys conducted by the Arab Barometer before the October 7th attack provide revealing statistics. 68%, here are your numbers, 68% of Gazans believe they had no safe way to participate in peaceful protests against Hamas, while 73% favored a peace deal with Israel. This is according to USA Today. These figures underscore the complex sentiments of Gazan population where support for Hamas is far from unanimous. So the people that are suffering the most are the innocent people of Gaza and the Palestinians.
That's the majority of the people that are there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who are suffering at the hands of Hamas. So by the way, if you look at Hamas, when they were elected in 2006, who was running basically Palestine, the Palestinians? Before that, it was Mahmoud Abbas. By the way, he's 88 years old. He's kept up in the West Bank. He has not been to Gaza since 2006. Why? Because they basically had a civil war and they will freaking kill him. Hamas.
Yeah.
They're political rivals, okay? So in America here, we have, we'll lock her up and you belong in jail and all that. No, they'll literally kill you in Gaza. That's what Hamas will do. So it's a sad situation that's going on there. And last point is this. They've actually come out with dozens of reports. They've interviewed Arab Muslims who live in Israel. And they asked them point blank, why don't you leave Israel? Why do you stay here? They go, I love Israel. I have economic security. I have financial freedom. I'm safe. I feel great. Why don't you move to Gaza? Why don't you go to Lebanon? And they're essentially like, hell no, I'm good here. So all the people really want in Gaza at the end of the day, what do people really want? Financial freedom. They want to work. They want to earn. They want to be with their family, but they're held hostage by Hamas. And Israel lives next door to a terrorist organization. To the west of them is Hamas. To the north of them is Hezbollah. To the right of them is Al-Qaeda. What the hell are they supposed to do? Does anybody want innocent victims to die? Hell no.
No, but you said,
well, what are you supposed to do when you have terror organizations surrounding you?
well, it's kind of cool. Well, you said what do the people in Gaza want? You mean wanted? Because there is no it's flat.
Yeah,
and everybody's
50% of the people have been displaced.
Everybody's
but did Israel want this?
No. Well,
on October 6th, they had no issues.
No.
I'm not saying no issues.
And Adam,
but there was no war.
And this is a point that I have to make, Pat, and we'll move on. Two things can exist at the same time. What Hamas did, everybody can agree horrible, disgusting. You can understand and see that, but then on the flip side, say like the response is getting a little bit out of hand. You could still, those can exist. You're not a Hamas supporter.